I'm Devin, and this is
Darren Wood. Nice to see everybody.
Welcome to this week's news and tabletop. We got 3 big things for you, 3 highlights. This is all you need. We're going to keep it to like 10 minutes so you can get on with your day.
Yeah.
One, literally an hour, 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
The OGL news has come out, and D&D has said they're just going to leave it alone.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. I don't know if anything's ever been so negatively received.
It's so fun because the thing is, there's so many people that have covered it so well, but They said, hey, we're not going to touch it. We heard your survey results. Mm-hmm. You said stop, and we did. Okay, great.
Do you think it's really going to stop, though? How real do you think this is? Or do you think Hasbro's just like behind the scenes, just like biding their time, rubbing their hands together?
Yeah, I think this is going to cause a shakeout. I think they're going to have to really explore other monetization methods.
Yeah.
And a company like Hasbro, a lot of their money comes from license, and I think they're going to have to try to find ways to like expand on that.
Yeah.
But I don't think the audience is going to allow them to get away with it. If they're going to try to do something like that, I think you're going to see people really combative to anything they try to do.
Yeah, I think this is like a classic case of like the old guard, trying to do things the usual way and it not being received on the newer generation. I mean, you could see this in things like WB's like handling of their whatever DC extended universe, right? It was a bunch of old suits trying to do things the tried and true way when it's like that was not what the fandom was demanding.
Yeah,
and
they
like,
wanted Peacekeeper.
Yeah, and they
not
like
Batman.
Exactly. And so when they didn't listen, it like totally fell apart.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be a time when they're so used to their licensing things they've done the same way. That's always worked for them, but this is not that. Like these tabletop RPGs, especially D&D, like culturally is a whole different animal.
And the big win is going to be for creators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bless you. Bless you again.
Oh my goodness.
It's my last one. You don't get any more.
Yeah, right.
I warned you.
Of course, right before we go live. The big win is going to be for creators because I know there's a lot of people who pause their projects because they weren't sure if they were going to go through with this.
Yeah.
But now with the SRD in the Creative Commons, the system rules document, and it sounds like everything being done to not deauthorize the OGL, just to leave it alone, will be great for third-party creators, which is one of the biggest factors of pushback.
Yeah, but although, like, as we've already seen, like, Pathfinder is doing very, very well right now.
What?
Which is, like, already determined from...
Great segue! Yeah, so the big news that is coming here next for us today is Pathfinder is selling like crazy.
Yeah.
6 months of books. Let me pull this up.
I thought you said 8 months.
Pull this up. Is it 8 months? Oh my! It might be 8 months.
6 to 8 months of books.
8 months supply of the Pathfinder 2e core rulebook in the last 2 weeks is what they've moved through. In 2 weeks, they moved through 8 months supply of books.
How much of this do you think was fueled by OGL?
Well, there is this idea that if the OGL is deauthorized, that these books would then fall under that. Mm-hmm. So there was, while it was in limbo, a lot of people were selling like almost a 5e fire sale. Mm-hmm. Or an OG fire sale. Because if the OGL gets deauthorized and then this falls under it, people aren't going to want to sell it. People aren't going to want to buy it.
Right.
And so Pathfinder 2e doesn't, there's a little bit that's part of the OGL, and I think they're going to be changing that in future editions, but it's also a great opportunity because everyone wants to support another game.
Yeah.
And so Paizo made a great move. Mm-hmm. So many people are interested in exploring it, and then you're seeing a lot of talk of people like, new game systems.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
Well, I think like once we get to a certain point of a medium reaching a certain kind of zenith, right? And I think we're seeing that with this OGL coming out, like the need for like this like kind of like capitalist like monetization and also like more generic things like the D&D movie and seeing like D&D being sponsored on Nerds. It's like the next thing that follows that is like a hunger for an expansion of that, just like there's expansions of game packs. It's like people want more once they understand this game space and this mind space.
And Pathfinder is notorious for being able to put out a lot of content. Mm-hmm. They put out tons of adventure pass settings, guidebooks, every year. I think they put out maybe 8 or 10.
Is there a specific reason to that? Is it like their team? Or
their team. Like... I mean, they have. I mean, well, their writers are unionized, and so that's also a big differentiator in the space because it's, they're WotC isn't, and neither is Hasbro. But I think it's because they have an appetite and they have a rabid fan base. If you ever talk to someone that loves Pathfinder, they'll tell you why Pathfinder's great.
Yeah.
And I think that has something to do with it. Like, they want content.
Yeah.
And so I think the fact that they're releasing so much, product is also going to be like a huge advantage for them.
Or have all the releases been like of a similar quality? Do you think they're like?
No, so they'll do like individual books, and then like they'll combine those books into like another book. So like Adventure Pass, and then they're like, oh, here's the whole collection of them. So, but they have these huge ones that they've taken from Pathfinder 1E, and they've upgraded it to 2E, and then they have some originals. Then they have like, hey, here's the Lost Omens guidebook, which is part of the setting, and then they have another one that is like the what is it called? Not Abomination Vaults. I don't know off the top of my head, but these are not only setting guides, but they also have new characters. They also have new like ancestry choices for building your character. So they're giving a lot of content, and that's the big thing that Wizards has always kind of been, chastised for, is they're not putting out enough content, and the content they are is just like not the same quality.
This is the differentiation for all you book nerds out there between your George R. R. Martins and your Brandon Sandersons, all right?
Yeah, okay. That's actually such a great, Brandon Sanderson is the Pathfinder
prolific, and he has like a collaborative kind of content authoring style as well, right? Like, there are other people that contribute to his Stormlight Archives series or help plan it out or something. I forget what it is.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cosmere.
Yes, the Cosmere. Like, it's not just him. Like, there's like a team of people, and kind of like what he did for the Wheel of Time, where it was handed off to him. He's just prolific, and it's like a collaborative process of George R. R. Martin like slowly wasting away in New Mexico, just like, I can't finish it.
Oh, well, then that brings us to our last piece of news for today. Speaking of, of television and movies, there's, I think Mistborn got a TV deal. George R. R. Martin, he obviously has many TV deals, but Critical Role landed their second animation deal.
I'm so excited.
Are you watching Vox Machina?
Of course I am. Okay. I haven't actually caught up to the latest one, so I can't even give you spoilers. I don't got any. But I actually, when the first season of Vox Machina came out, you're always a little wary, right? When like another medium tackles another medium, especially something like tabletop RPG, where it's like, this is very hard. Like, that's why I'm a little worried about the D&D movie, because it's like the cool stuff doesn't happen in an hour. It happens across like an entire, 4-hour sessions that you're playing across months at a time. So how do you, consolidate that and refine it into something that like feels really qualitative? Is that the right word I'm saying? Anyways,
I heard them talking a lot about how hard it was to like strip out so much content to make a 30-minute episode.
But they did so well. Yeah. And I think, similarly to Brandon Sanderson, they did the world building aspect of it really well. And it still felt D&D in terms of like different magic belongs to different things. I remember watching the behind the scenes of like the making of Vox Machina as well. And they talk about like how they really wanted to like visually differentiate between like the kind of magic that like Keyleth uses as opposed to like what Pike uses. And that kind of helps you make sense of the world that you're in. And I just think it's fantastic. It's fun. It's hilarious. Like, it's meaningful. Like, the animation looks great. Like, not a spoiler, everybody knows probably, like the dragons that are coming in the first episode, incredible. Incredible design. And
the thing is, I believe they won't be there's a third season coming for Vox Machina. So they're going to, and it sounds like they didn't feel they would have enough time to do the entire Chroma Conclave in one season. So it sounds like this could bleed into season 3. Also set up. There's some questions though, like how's Vecna going to be part of this? But regardless, there's a whole nother show they're doing now. Like, there's still more seasons of Critical Role that they have to make of Vox Machina. But now Mighty Nine, that's the new series. It's going to show up. And I'm wondering, we don't know if they're going to be in tandem yet.
I mean, if it just got announced, I would assume it's years out. Especially animation. Well, that depends, because there's probably a lot more money behind it now and a lot more support from Amazon if this is their second going at it. So it may get turned out a little bit quicker. We shall see. But I'm really excited for the Mighty Nine. I think, I know like a lot of people have a special place in their hearts for Vox Machina, but I really think Mighty Nine is kind of where a lot of them found their stride and like really like figured out how to stream, figured out how to build a character, figured out how to like perform that character in a story. So I'm excited for that.
Here's something to take away. They got another show. D&D, Wizard of the Coast, says they have around 40 million fans of D&D. Yeah. And that's from, like, they think of players, they think of this. We know that D&D Beyond has around 10 million users. Okay. Right? So taking into this number, and then thinking about Critical Role. Critical Role, I don't know what their average, but they don't have a million average watchers, I believe. I don't think they have a million concurrent.
I'm not sure what their...
let's see. Concurrent Critical Role viewership. Let's see. Around 33,000 concurrent. Mm-hmm. So that must mean that the Critical Role television show is doing massive. Because if you think about, like, the highest viewership, MASH, 105 million people watched the MASH finale.
Are we done in, like, the 70s?
Yeah, right, in the 70s. So I don't know what the viewership is right now. Yeah. But there must be so much that, like, yes, we're actually gonna start another series. They're thinking to saturate, right? Yeah. And that means that viewership is good.
I mean, Amazon also just might be making a smart move in terms of, like, be the home for tabletop RPG fans. This is, like, the new growing thing. This is what a lot of, like, newer content creators are doing. Yeah. So they might just have their finger on the pulse in terms of, like, creating the home base for that, because if you're going to back your money behind any franchise, it's going to be Critical Role. And I do think it's accessible to people who don't play D&D. Like, I know a lot of people who don't play D&D and watch that show and thought it was wonderful. So I think they're probably... Yeah, I think they're probably just trying to capitalize on, like, what's coming next.
Yeah. Now, let's see. Parrot Analytics has found that the audience demand for Critical Role Legends of Vox Machina is 1.2 times the demand of the average TV series in the United States in the last 30 days. And so I don't know where Parrot's getting this data, but I think it looks like it's using a lot of Twitter analytics, which, you know, there's definitely a big top presence. But I would love to know, like, hey, how, you know, what is the viewership like for this? But good enough to get us not a second season, to get a second show.
But you also have to think of this in terms of, like, it could just be one of those things where, like, it's a fan base that puts their money where their mouth is, like how, you know, capitalism likes to invest in teenage girls because they're very reliable income source. And it's probably, I would assume that tabletop RPG people are put their money where their mouth is kind of fans. Yeah. And so they showed up. And, like, the name of the game in streaming right now is getting people to stay. Yeah. and you know, all streamers are always looking for an IP they can attach to and grow from. Yeah. So, you know, that's going to be a big part of it too. But hey, listen, congratulations to the whole entire Critical Role team for getting a second show that's going to be released in tandem. That's incredible. Yeah. I'm so proud of them.
But hey, that's the big news. It's been about 10 minutes. This is 10 minutes of tabletop news. Thanks for joining me, Deborah.
Hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, let us know, and then maybe we might come back next week and do a little bit more.
There's always news to be had. Thanks so much. Remember, don't burn down the tavern.